All right, y'all. Ever feel like you're running around putting out fires with behavior all day long? If so, we got you. When I started as an administrator, I wanted to fix everything. Matter of fact, that's what filled my cup. But what I didn't understand was eventually my school needed to run without me. Either because I moved on or because there would be times when I had to be out of the building. So how do you ensure that your school runs smoothly, even when you're not there? You have to create a system that can run itself. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be involved. You absolutely need to be in the trenches. But the key is that if you can't be involved due to meetings, professional development, or whatever the day brings, now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be involved. You absolutely need to be in the trenches. But the key is that if you can't be involved due to meetings, professional development, or whatever the day brings, the building shouldn't fall apart. So, how do we make this happen? We create a system and develop teacher capacity. And it all starts with recognizing that not everyone has the same threshold for behavior. If you're in administration, you've seen a thing or two. But what you see as a big deal, or not, may be completely different from what a teacher experiences daily in their classroom. For example, I was a special education teacher. Therefore, off the bat, my threshold was up here for behavior. What I realized quickly is that sometimes our gen ed teachers or teachers that are just starting out, their threshold is down here. And you have to figure out a way to marry the two. So, here's a process to walk through with your teachers. I know this may scare some of you away, but trust me, if you have these conversations now, your school year will be a whole lot smoother. Step 1, norming process with teachers. Hold a professional development session, or better yet, have your AP or dean lead it. Ask teachers to create 2 lists, behaviors that are admin managed and those that are classroom managed. Here's the key. You have to step out of the room. Nominate 2 spokespeople to represent the teachers, set a timer, and when you return, have a discussion and finalize the list together. This step is crucial to getting buy-in and setting clear expectations. Because here's what happens. We assume that our thresholds are the same. And so when we're getting calls for kids that are out of their seat or under a chair, things like that, and we go, just leave them alone. Well, our teachers don't know that that's the way that they should handle those situations. And the thresholds are different. So we have to align on what those thresholds are. Very clear on what should be handled in the classroom and what should be handled by admin. Step 2, a uniform classroom behavior management system. Next, hold another PD session. Break teachers into groups of 5 to 8 and have them define the action steps for managing behaviors in their classrooms. I'm not talking about if they use a clip chart. I'm not talking about if they use cute pins that they hand out. I'm not talking about coins or economy systems. What I'm talking about is what happens when a student does not follow directions. What are the steps that everybody's going to go through so that we can be aligned across the building? We have a suggested format on the Uplifted Leaders site that includes a verbal warning, nonverbal cue, hallway redirections, a phone call home, then if necessary, admin intervention. One non-negotiable is the phone call home. If your teachers leave this out, they need to understand that this is a crucial piece of the process. And you also get a view of their mindset. They either leave it out because they don't feel like they have parent support or because they're too scared to make the phone call. And if you expect them to make those calls, provide training on how those conversations should go. This is another great opportunity for a PD session where you model effective parent communication and allow teachers to role play and practice. And also, it's always helpful to offer to be there for those conversations in the beginning. Be their support and be in the trenches. When classroom management is strong, the entire building culture improves. A lot of times what's missing in classroom management is clarity, right? Teacher presence and clarity. We haven't been clear and we haven't been consistent on what our steps are going to be. Oftentimes because the teacher doesn't know what those steps are. So we have to be sure to do the work on the front end to define what those steps are. Step 3, tracking behavior data. You need a system to track behaviors. What we did was create a Google form where teachers can submit Tier 1 and Tier 2 behaviors that persist. Some schools integrate this into their student management system, but the key is that you must collect data. If it's in your student management system, then you need to be sure that teachers are not putting too much information in there. I have seen referrals put in that are very emotion-filled, and it shouldn't be that way. That's why we put in the Google Sheet, so that anything that was Tier 1 or 2 would be on the Google Sheet and that we could track it. Anything that was admin managed or Tier 3 was what went into our student management system. At the end of each month, we review the graphs from our form, present the data, and identify the highest area of concern as our focus for the following month. So, for example, it's September and our students are struggling with staying in their seat. We've looked at the data, we can see it from the forms that have been submitted, and so for the following month, every day on the announcements, we say, we're handing out giant tickets today for students that are staying in their seat. Or our shout outs are going to be geared towards staying in our seat. Another thing that we've implemented is a behavior team. And they come together and they talk about what other things can we put in place for our biggest behaviors. So if it is staying in their seat or raising their hand to talk, one of the things that we put in was a building-wide system where they hold up numbers to get out of their seat. So unless they're doing something like that, they shouldn't be out of their seat. And that helped a lot to see our data go down. When you focus on something and you have data that can support it, and you present it to your teachers and you're transparent, they're a lot more likely to get on board with you. So if in September, that's our highest, the next month, because we're putting intervention in place for it, where everyone's gonna buy in and buy into the system, then the next month, the percentages should go down. And as the percentages go down and the behavior gets better in your building, your teachers continue to buy in. Step 4, corrective actions. Once the system is in place, have teachers brainstorm appropriate corrective actions for behaviors that are classroom managed. You'll be amazed at the creative ideas your teachers come up with. And because they develop these strategies themselves, they're already invested in making them work. It also gives a bank to your brand new teachers or your beginning of the profession teachers to look at and come up with creative ideas, things that they've never thought to try. Step 5, and this is a very important one, celebrate positive behavior. Celebrate it with your teachers and celebrate it with your kids. So if you see that you have a teacher that's making an appropriate phone call home, or they're having that hallway conversation and it's going well, shout them out. Send an email to the staff that says, I saw so-and-so do this today, and it made all the difference in Johnny's behavior. Make sure that you are calling it out, especially as you're building the system. In all of our PDs, another thing that's been effective is to add in at the very beginning about 5 to 10 minutes of time where they can talk to each other and brainstorm behavior or corrective actions based on behavior that's in their classroom. But celebrate that positive behavior. Celebrate the heck out of kids who follow expectations. So what I've noticed sometimes in schools is that we're flip-flopped. We give way too much attention to the kids, the 10 or 15 kids that are not following directions. And little Susie over there, who is doing well, we never celebrate her or hold her to the highest, and therefore our kids get mixed messages. Why would I want to follow directions if the kids that are not following directions are getting all the attention or getting all the talkies or getting all the stickers? So we have to celebrate the kids that are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. Implement daily shout-outs, tickets, or good behavior referrals. Recognition goes a long way in reinforcing positive behavior. Another important element is having a structured space outside of the office where students can complete work. Let me be clear, this space cannot be fun. The work must follow the student, and the space should be structured, ensuring that it serves as a reset. Your teachers are going to be very frustrated if they go there and they see that they're on their iPad the entire time, or if they come back with stickers or candy or anything that is a reward. It's not a reward. Additionally, when there are behaviors that are managed by admin, there needs to be a place for the student to go. While in this alternative learning environment, students work on the deficit behavior skill that led them there in the first place. But it also has to be an academic setting. It can't look completely different than the classroom. I've seen settings like this where there are cubicles and areas for students to sit. That's not my vibe. That's not the way I would run an alternative setting. I think it needs to look and breathe like the classroom so that kids know what they're going back into. We start with a 1-day placement, then move to a 3-day, 5-day, and ultimately a 10-day placement if needed. Any student who goes to our alternative learning room returns to class with a behavior plan that has been agreed upon by the teacher, admin, behavior staff, and the parent. The biggest piece of this is getting parents on board. I know, some of you are thinking, yeah, but they don't even show up. Then find a way to get to them. We've gone out to their places of work. We've gone out and sat on their porch. If you can get parents to buy into matching consequences at home, your building's behavior will flip. Sometimes our parents need guidance on the benefits of taking away the iPad or the iPhone at home. And that's okay. So if what we've done is if a student has behavior and they are currently going to go on a behavior plan, then that parent gets communication every single day on how the day went. And if it was a good day, then they get to have their phone or whatever is fun at home that the kid loves. If it's a bad day, then something gets taken away at home that's a preferred item. And as soon as our parents understand that if they follow through on this, there will be less phone calls, less issues, less times that they have to come into the building if we just work together, then at the end of it, y'all, our parents want what's best for their kids. They don't want them to get in trouble every day. If we can give them some skills at home to support us, they're more likely to support us. We also involve our social worker with our Tier 2 students to continue teaching coping skills and addressing deficits. A lot goes into behavior management, but at the end of the day, it's all about empowering staff and equipping them with the right tools. Imagine getting texts that say, "Johnny had a hard day today, but here are the steps that I took. I just want to keep you in the loop." Instead of, "Johnny can't be in here anymore." It's a mindset shift, but it works. And if you follow the norming process, your teachers will get on board. I always tell my team, if you do your part, I will do my part and back you up. So when a frustrated teacher comes to us, we go straight to the data. If there are no behavior forms, we have to put it back on the teacher. Listen, we need documentation to know what's happening. If the logs are there, then we can build a successful behavior plan together that will make that child successful in the classroom. We know how tricky behavior management can be, but we are here to support you. If you would like to speak with us about setting up behavior systems in your building, please sign up for a time to meet with us. Let's work together to create lasting change.